welcome to the channel. Today we will be doing something a little different than I would normally do, as opposed to uploading a playthrough. Today I will be doing a review of Sprawl. Sprawl is a retro-styled FPS set in a megalithic cyberpunk dystopian city, and it was developed by MAETH and published by Rogue Games Inc. Sprawl is a game that seems to take a lot of inspiration from games like F.E.A.R, Titanfall 2 with its wall running mechanic, the new Doom games with its push forward combat, emphasizing doing melee finishers on enemies in order to get health and ammo back, and then games like Quake, maybe specifically Quake 2, with its weapon sandbox. So in Sprawl, where you might see the similarities to Quake 2, you've got your shotgun, your SMG type weapon, and then you've also got dual pistols, which definitely differentiates it from a lot of those older boomer shooters. And then in addition to that, you have a grenade launcher, a rocket launcher, a railgun, and a minigun. Sprawl is not a very long game. The campaign maybe takes about 5 to 6 hours to get through. But it definitely does hold your attention the whole way. And it is a great game that I would highly recommend. While it's definitely not perfect, I would say that some of its weaknesses are in the level design. Sometimes it's not super obvious which direction you're supposed to be going in, and they probably could have used more lights or something that's not too obvious, like not as obvious as an arrow saying go here, but they could have used some type of signaling in some parts of the game to help players with navigation. However, this does improve as the game goes on, so it's not something that most people should be having issues with as they get later and later in the game. But yeah, starts off just getting the player acquainted with the wall running mechanics, which are definitely different than you would see in most games. In fact, I would say Sprawl's wall running is certainly unique to other wall running that I have seen in other games. And what I mean by that is that there's a constant downward momentum as you're wall running. So in order to keep going at the height you want, you have to jump, and you have 3 jumps while running on a wall. And obviously if you don't use those jumps properly, you can end up missing your next platform and then falling. But fortunately in Sprawl, you're not punished by any kind of health deduction, and you don't face an instant death when you fail a platforming section. You just spawn next to the nearest point, which is nice. It definitely makes the platforming a lot more enjoyable when you could definitely see if you were to face an instant death or to face a health reduction. Some of the platforming sections would be extremely frustrating. But yeah, it's definitely a unique take on wall running. I would say that the wall running is really one of the only real unique mechanics with Sprawl. Other than that, it does have a slow-mo ability that you fill up with an adrenaline meter, which I do like that. I like how you fill up the adrenaline meter by getting kills. That's, of course, part of the push-forward combat, so in addition to health and ammo, there's that building up your adrenaline meter so you can use slow-mo. And where this is useful is it helps in targeting headshots, which are really the only weak points on most of the common enemies in the game, and then during the few boss fights that take place during the campaign. Um, going into slow-mo highlights weak points on the bosses, and then you just shoot the weak points. But yeah, it's definitely... It doesn't seem as vital to the combat as in games like F.E.A.R or the more recent Trepang 2. It's nice to have it there, but it definitely feels a little bit half-baked. However, I would say for the most part it's a very strong game, a very fun game. The boss fights are okay. They're a little weak in that you are just shooting weak points, and that's whatever. So, nothing to write home about on the boss fights. They're fine. They get the job done, I suppose. And then I think another game that some people might compare Sprawl to is the somewhat recently released Turbo Overkill that came out earlier this year. Turbo Overkill is probably my #1 boomer shooter to come out this year, but Sprawl is just like Turbo Overkill, a cyberpunk boomer shooter, so I think some people might compare them, but Sprawl's aesthetic design is definitely a lot more brutalist. While there are sections of the game with some neon lights and a lot of colors that pop, they really make their presence known because so much of the game is very dark and there's a lot of bland concrete. Not that that's a bad thing. It's definitely a stylistic choice that was made, and I do like it. And some of the views and across the cityscape definitely are, make you stop and kind of look around from time to time, which I always enjoy in these kind of games. Yeah, definitely a different take on the cyberpunk dystopia than a game like Turbo Overkill, but I definitely enjoyed it. I did enjoy this game's art direction. For the most part, I did really enjoy the combat, although it did have some half-baked mechanics like the slow-mo ability. But yeah, I would overall highly recommend Sprawl. It does have a lot of enemy variety, which is great. You need that in a boomer shooter for sure. Yeah, I would definitely highly recommend it. It's not a super difficult game, at least it wasn't for me on hard mode. I know there was a difficulty above that, but I really didn't feel like playing on the highest difficulty after being absolutely punished. Oh gosh, what was the game I played recently? Herald of Havoc. That was a mistake, playing that game on the highest difficulty. So I took it down a notch when I played Sprawl. And yeah, it wasn't really too challenging, but it was a lot of fun. And I enjoyed it, and like I said, I would highly recommend it. So please, go check out Sprawl. It's on Steam. Alright. Yeah, I guess in addition to that, I would just like to talk a little bit about the direction of this channel. Those of you who have stuck around with me for a while may know me for my just raw gameplay playthroughs that I've been uploading. So in the future, this is something that I've been kind of thinking about that I want to do. Moving my channel forward is just do more game reviews like this. Maybe even upload some commentary videos on just boomer shooters and maybe video games and the video game industry in general. Yeah, that's what I want to do with my channel going forward. I think it would just allow me to inject more of myself and my personality and my passion for these kind of games into my videos. And I hope that you guys will appreciate that and enjoy that. And hopefully it draws more people to the channel. So yeah, thank you to everyone who has stuck around and who's been watching my videos. And I hope you enjoy the new direction that this channel will be going in. Yeah, I'm not sure how frequently I will be uploading videos. I mean, I would love to upload one review a week, but I don't know how likely that is, considering I am a married man with a full-time job and pets and a house to take care of. So my time that I can spend gaming is, shrunk a little bit. So we'll see how frequently I'll be able to upload to this channel moving forward. But yeah, game reviews is basically what I want to focus on. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, bye.